Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most tragic events in history. Let's get started. Who was involved in the Titanic tragedy? Well, the ship was built by the White Star Line, a British shipping company, and captained by Edward J. Smith. The passengers? Over 2,200 people from various social classes, including wealthy elites, immigrants, and crew members. Cut to a clip of Edward J. Smith, followed by a mix of images of famous passengers like John Jacob Astor IV, Molly Brown, and Isidor Straus. So, what happened? On the night of April 14th, 1912, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic. Despite being advertised as unsinkable, the ship's hull was punctured, causing several compartments to flood. The Titanic sank in just under 3 hours, plunging into the icy waters of the Atlantic. Over 1,500 people lost their lives in one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. Where did this tragedy unfold? The Titanic was on its maiden voyage, sailing from Southampton, England, to New York City. But the disaster occurred about 370 miles south of Newfoundland, Canada, in the cold waters of the North Atlantic. April 14th, 1912. When did this all happen? The Titanic struck the iceberg late at night on April 14th, 1912. By the early morning hours of April 15th, the ship was at the bottom of the ocean. So, why did this happen? The tragedy can be blamed on a number of factors. First, the ship was traveling at high speeds through an area known for icebergs, and there were warnings about ice in the area that were ignored. Second, the Titanic was equipped with lifeboats for only about half the people on board, a tragic oversight. And lastly, the ship's design, though considered state-of-the-art at the time, was unable to withstand the damage caused by the iceberg. Many passengers and crew didn't even have the chance to escape. Women and children were given priority, but the lack of sufficient lifeboats and the chaos that ensued meant that many were left behind. Plus, the Titanic's design had a fatal flaw. It didn't have enough watertight compartments to keep it afloat after the iceberg struck. How did the Titanic sink so quickly? The iceberg caused the ship's hull to puncture and flood 6 of its watertight compartments. These compartments were supposed to prevent the ship from sinking, but the damage was too extensive. As the water filled the compartments, the ship's bow began to sink lower and lower, and the stern began to rise, eventually breaking apart as it sank into the icy depths. Ultimately, the Titanic broke apart and sank into the ocean, leaving behind a haunting wreck that would be discovered over 70 years later in 1985 by oceanographer Robert Ballard. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more historical deep dives. What do you think? Was the Titanic disaster just bad luck, or were there bigger issues at play? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.